y'all, welcome back. It's Tracy Wainwright with Lightwork here to encourage you. So I see a lot of things in our world, the way that we think, the way that we talk, the way that we behave, both individually and just culture wide, tend to swing the pendulum. And so what that means is we bounce from one extreme to another. If you study culture, if you study history, you'll see this kind of swing back and forth on a whole lot of different things. And I see this a lot in how we think of ourselves. I once spent time, because I was challenged and there was a reward, to memorize Romans 12. And I am not good at memorizing. It is very difficult for me. I had to work really hard at it, but I did it. I can still kind of sort of quote most of it, but one of the verses in Romans 12 is, do not think more highly of yourself than you ought. Now, I think it's in Romans 12. Now that I think about it, it could be somewhere else, but either way, it's a good verse. Look it up, do a search. And I think it's so important, because we all have a tendency in our flesh and how we think of ourselves to either think too highly or too lowly of ourselves. And it's a struggle to have a very balanced, godly view of yourself. So what does that mean? That means to acknowledge your strengths and maybe even celebrate your strengths, but also that they come from the Lord. And then to acknowledge your weaknesses and offer them up to the Lord, to work on them, to understand. So like one practical weakness I have is artistry. So I can draw. You can usually tell what it is, but not always. I don't have that ability. I'm not artistic, and I took an art class in college, and I got better, absolutely. But I knew I was never going to be an artist. My job was never going to have anything to do with art, and I was okay with that. I've embraced that. There are things that I'm very comfortable with speaking, obviously, but I'm also comfortable with speaking in front of crowds. Like, even though I do get nervous, as soon as I get going, I lose all of that. Speech class in college was not a bane to my existence. It didn't really stress me out or bother me really badly. But what I've had to learn is that that is a gift from the Lord. Now, I've cultivated it, I've practiced it, I've worked on it, which is what we have to do with our strengths and weaknesses. But anytime I would get arrogant about it, like, the Lord would very purposefully take me down a few notches. And that's because he didn't want me to think too highly of myself in any area. And we do tend to do that in some ways, or maybe we think about ourselves too much and we're not focusing on other people. We're not praying for other people. We're not lifting them up to the Lord. We're not being kind or thinking how we can show them love or generosity. Or we think too lowly of ourselves. I see this and have experienced it myself, where just my self-identity and self-worth was just in the pits, like it just was. And there's a lot of practical reasons for that. My environment growing up, I was an awkward kid. I was picked on a lot. I believed what kind of was the rhetoric, not from everyone, but just very, very negative things about myself. And it took a lot of being in the Word, being around other godly people, really having some deep, hard conversations with God and with other people to break myself of thinking really negatively and poorly of myself, and just knowing my value, but again, so that I didn't think too highly of myself, knowing that my value comes from the Lord. So I'm just, I guess, challenging and encouraging you to think about how you think of yourself. Don't think of yourself too lowly. If you are in a relationship with the Lord, he loves you. You don't have to earn his love. Now, out of love for him, we want to obey him and glorify him and be people who strive to be godly. But that doesn't change our worth, our value in him and how much he loves us. But also, don't think too highly of yourself. Like, if you're better at something than someone, if you understand something quicker, if you understand things, like, understand understand that God gives you those abilities. So hopefully that has encouraged you. Let me know if this is something you've struggled with or something you've overcome, or just like throw a heart in there that this blessed you and encouraged you today, because that's what I want to do. That's what I do with my videos. That's what I do with my books. I want to encourage you, draw you closer to the Lord, let you know who you are in Him, and that we're just all growing together. So I would love to hear from you. And until next time, be encouraged, be uplifted, and shine your light.